It's a tricky one, because you can't just assume someone's
Well, when's the last time you used
disability status.
Yeah. When's the last time you used the term?
I use non-sighted instead of blind. I don't, because blind is derogatory, but sometimes I feel like I do need to use it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I often say it. Blind corner.
A blind corner, yeah.
But I
unseeable corner.
Yeah, I need to start taking that stuff out of my vocab.
That's the correct terminology. But I felt like that's why I quit competitive surfing.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because of that?
Yeah, well, it wasn't so much calling people blind or the unseeing.
Yeah.
It was more that I felt like I was being judged by people that were unseers.
Yeah, like they were blind.
They were blind, yeah. And I wasn't getting the scores that I should have been getting because I felt like the judges couldn't actually see what I was doing.
I can see where you went wrong. Well, they went wrong putting blind people in the judging panel. There's probably the rage I've heard that you used at some of those times and the words you used, you could have gone with the unseen or unsighted.
Yeah, and that's where I felt like I was getting into trouble, and I didn't want to be seen as some guy who was extremely discriminatory and a bigot, basically. Because I was getting in trouble because I was, you fucking dumb blind cunts, you know, to the judges when they would underscore me after a heat, and I was just like, I can't be doing this, you know, because it is, I didn't want to get in trouble from that. So that's why I quit surfing. I mean, not surfing, quit competitive surfing. Yeah, and it would be a lot more helpful if the judges who were judging my heat specifically were of the seeing type. Yeah.
Had cataracts that work.
Yeah. At least minimum wore glasses or something.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they don't have to be have 20/20 vision to see the buckets you're throwing up, eh?
Nah, well,
you can be pretty much blind and you'll see what you're pulling off.
I can understand that maybe some of the surfing that I do is hard to actually fathom and comprehend.
Yeah.
You know, it almost look otherworldly. So I can understand, that maybe it's like they're seeing visions or whatever, but so that's why. But I thought the judging, did you watch any of the pipe? Because pipe's been, they've had 2 days of pipeline. They had the men's on the day 1 and then the women's on the day 2.
Yeah, I did see it. I saw some highlights on social media. Yeah. I saw some of the big dogs, big rides like John's 8s and some of those boys. I saw the women's. It was a bit different. It didn't look as good.
It was different. The men's, that was amazing just to see some of those waves. That was some of the best competitive surfing that I've ever seen.
Really?
I'd say some of those waves.
Tell me about some of your highlights.
Geordie Smith, he got a 9.7, I think, and that should have been a 10. Like, you could say that the judges had cataracts or some kind of sight impairment, but I mean, I thought that was a relatively fair score. John's performance, Jack Freestone's performance. Some of the dudes fucking ate some shit, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I like to see.
There was a lot of donuts that day. And we didn't get to see that, unfortunately. We didn't get to see that from the women's side of things because when they were put out when the waves were, less than desirable, really.
I noticed that. When I watched the men's, I was like, did they not surf on the same day?
No, they don't surf on the same day. You'd think they could have, like if it was really, truly equal, they could have put the women out on that day when it was amazing. 2022
now, equality is important to women, and they didn't put them out.
They didn't put them out. Yeah, I was a little bit shocked. As a male feminist myself, I wanted to see the women out there showing what they could do, and they weren't. They weren't even given a chance. They had 2 rounds of the men. Right, and they could have done 1 round of the men and then 1 round of the women after that, but they didn't. They didn't even give them a chance. So they put them out the next day when it was like half the size, and the women, they performed. They performed. Not well, but they performed, and that's the main thing. And
if equality is so important to women, then why wouldn't they give them a go? See how they go.
Exactly. Give them the shot.
Give them the chance, man.
Eminem said on that song, he said, I only want this one chance, this one shot to give you everything I've got. That's verbatim Eminem. And they weren't even given that chance. Because, I mean, myself as a male feminist, like,
yeah.
I wanted to see these women out there and surfing the same kind of ways that those men were surfing.
Me too.
Because there's nothing more equal, I think, than seeing not just a man wipe out, but just see... I just get joy when I see a woman eat absolute fucking shit on a wave. Because I'm just like, that's the true sign of equality.
It is really nice to watch a woman
It's got to be about equal in the success and equal in the failure.
Yeah, I really enjoy that too. And that's a point for the WSL, I think, to maybe look at and think about, because obviously they'll watch this podcast.
Yeah, they will.
And that's something that they could consider, is actually giving the woman the shot at the perfect pipe and huge overhead.
And there are definitely some of the women who would struggle out there, but there were some men who struggled out there too.
Yeah.
Like, there were a few guys out there who they were pretty shit. You know, they weren't very good.
I'm not going to comment because I wouldn't get out there.
Yeah, but it's not about you. When you're a fucking like a backseat driver, you know, you can make commentary on these things that you're not good at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to comment even though, like, I couldn't even have got out.
Oh no, absolutely not. You're fine. You do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, man.
Yeah. But and saying that about the men who were shit, there were some women who would be really good. Steph Gilmore, unfortunately, she was out because of COVID protocols, whatever that is.
Would she make it?
She'd surf good out there. She actually got a clip getting a really nice tube at the back door the other day.
Would Bethany Hamilton make it?
Bethany Hamilton, she's charging. She was actually very impressive. Who else was there? Carissa Moore. Awesome. This local chick, Moana someone.
What, the chick off the movie?
No, not off the movie.
Oh.
Not off the movie. No, her actual name is Moana, which we know that means ocean.
Yes.
I believe it must be the same in Hawaiian. I'm not sure.
Yeah, very similar Māori and Hawaiian.
Yeah. But yeah, that's you know, basically a handful, like if you cut one finger off, of women who would have been very impressive on that main
or an
day.
arm.
Is that a reference to Bethany Hamilton?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't talk about that. It's a disability, remember?
Well, no, it was a shark attack.
It was a shark attack.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, but that still left her disabled.
Oh, she's not disabled.
No, you can talk about it. No, because there's a movie and a book about it.
She is out at pipe.
That's a true point. She is not disabled.
She's just got one arm.
She surfs better than a lot of guys, most guys.
Does she surf better than you?
Nah, she doesn't surf better than me. But if you got most guys, right, most guys in the world that surf, and she surfs better than most guys.
I was amazed at her paddling. It's unreal.
Oh, I don't know how she does that. She's got like some little handle thing on her board.
Yeah. Which, is that cheating?
That might be cheating. Yeah. That's an advantage. I don't have one of those.
But you're right about equality.
Yeah.
Give the woman full-blooded pipe, and
I would just love to see it.
Whether
they shit or they just get stand-up tubes all day, I don't care. I just want to fucking see it. At least once, give them a chance.
Yeah. That's actually the segment in the top of the podcast. I think we must have started. Hold on.
I think we might have started this podcast.
This week in pro surfing was
the top. we never really have an intro to this, do we?
No.
But we have an agenda that we've written down. But yeah, hi. Welcome to the podcast again. This
Thanks
is our second one back after a little absence.
Absinthe?
Yeah, absinthe. No, absence. Abscess.
Well, I had all three of those over summer, actually.
I feel like you're just saying that for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't have any of those things.
I had an abscess.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't need to hear about that. So on the agenda today, obviously we've just talked about pro surfing. That's what's been going on. The Pipe Masters. Hopefully I was thinking we maybe do some commentary on the Pipe Masters.
Oh, yeah, I'd be really interested.
If that's possible. I've had requests from people after we did that fucking fantastic job of doing the, what was it? It was not the Olympics.
No,
the O Games.
It was the O Games.
Well, when we commentated the O Games, can't call it the real name.
We didn't have the rights to
No, we didn't have the rights to use the name.
So it was the O Games over in somewhere near Japan.
Yeah.
And, yes, I'll be very interested in that. When is it?
It's
tomorrow.
Well, I'm not sure when it is.
Is there a lay day today?
There's a lay day today.
Well, what's a lay day? Is that like a hump day?
It's not like a hump day. Hump day's a Wednesday, right? You can have a lay day on a Wednesday, but generally a lay day is when there's not enough swell or it's not quite up to standard for the competitors.
Right.
Yeah. So lay day, hump day, yeah, not the same or similar at all. Although they may sound like they would be a same sort of thing when you just, fuck all day.
Yeah.
You fuck all day. But it's not. It's when you don't compete in an event and then the other one's Wednesday. middle of, because it's like a hump
in the week
on a camel.
Okay, well that does sort of wrap up this week in pro surfing.
Yeah, this week in pro surfing, that's what went down, and I'm really excited to see what else happens during this week and next week.
So is this not Pipe Masters?
This is not Pipe Masters. This is the Billabong Pipeline Pro.
Okay, so this is just a WSL event. The Pipe Masters is towards the end of the year when things start.
Apparently, yeah. You've done your research on this, haven't you?
Yeah, I was really looking into surfing, actually.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to have someone on a surfing, loosely related podcast who knows a little bit about surfing.
Yeah.
I feel like you're holding the team together.
I am, man. And the next part on the agenda and driving things forward is how can you hide the fact that you may suck at surfing using style? This is a topic.
Is this a question that someone brought up?
Oh, it's just been in discussions.
It has been
in the
in
surfing community a lot.
I feel like it's been in discussion since the dawn of surfing.
Yeah.
Really? Can you hide
your
inability? How can you hide your inability to surf using style? It's something that you'll see pretty much every time you go to the beach.
Look out for it. It's right there.
The dead giveaway is you can see someone and they suck at surfing, and you just watch them and you're like, what are they doing with their hands? And they'll be doing something a little fruity with their hands.
You mean while they're riding a wave?
While they're riding a wave.
Sort of pointy.
Yeah, it's kind of like they got their hands out. They just, maybe their hands are down the side. It's all in the arms. You got to watch people's arms because a lot of the time surfers don't know what to do with their hands or their arms.
Yeah.
And there's times where people don't know what to do with the rest of their body, but they know what to do with their arms or hands. Yeah. And those are the people that generally suck at surfing.
Yeah.
But they try to hide that fact by using style. And style's all in the wrist, hand, arm movement.
Yeah. Okay. So you've already moved to the water. How can you? What are some of the things people are doing to hide the fact they suck at surfing while still on the beach? Is it sort of the fancy gear? Is it? I did a haircut, so no one. I can't surf very well at all. So I shaved the sides of my head so I look like an animal out in the surf, and then no one fucks me, and I get to drop in on everything.
Yeah, but I don't think that haircut has anything to do with your surfing ability. But like you said, with equipment,
makes me look like I might be a bit rough and tumble.
Not really. Not really.
But
that's nothing to do with surfing ability. You're talking about intimidation, physical intimidation factor.
Yeah, I'm using that.
Yeah, you don't pull it off. But what I'm saying is, with style, like you brought up, it does come down to gear. You can kind of fake the surf look.
Yeah.
If you have the latest and greatest boards, if you've got like a carbon stringer, if you've got, if it's like a brand new sparkly board, a nice looking single fin that does a trick. Just a board that is kind of new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about those wetsuits that have the short arms? I notice a lot of good surfers sort of have a full wetsuit, but it's just got the short arms. Does that sort of make you
not really.
He might actually know what he's doing?
Not really.
No? Okay.
No.
So wetsuits you can't... What about the spring suits that are like a singlet?
Yes. That's
short john.
That's a good point. Yep. You can use those to look like you're a good surfer. Like a short Johnny thing, because it looks like you're made to get out there and tackle the ocean.
Yeah.
And what it's going to throw at you. If you look like a waterman, sometimes you chuck a stand-up paddleboard, or a hydrofoil or something like that. Maybe a couple of paddles or something like that. Just something to make you look like you know about the ocean.
Yeah, I can do anything in it.
Yeah, I can get out there and I lead Hamilton Kaileni the shit out of that ocean.
Yeah, that's what they do, eh?
Yeah.
Anything, any board, any
machine. Board, it doesn't matter. So, not saying that they can't surf, but like there are ways to emulate that look and that style so that people will think you know what you're doing.
Okay. So if you want to hide, your word sort of how to spot them. So if you want to hide the fact that you can't surf with style, what do? You get a new board, you get a short john. You're going to stand out like a fucking sore thumb.
You figure out what to do with your hands. You go to the mirror.
You go to the mirror
and you just practice what you're doing with your hands. Hands are that's 90% of surfing, right? Is in your hands. Okay. Use your hands to paddle into a wave. Use your hands to push up. And then you use your hands to just do some of this shit.
Yeah.
Some of
hand movements.
Just
gestures,
the limp wrist kind of. It's like a vibe.
I'm gonna grab that, but not actually grab it.
Yeah.
Like hover your fingers.
And you throw your elbows out and you put your hands above your head. There's a whole bunch of different techniques that you can do. And that's what we're actually trying to do the other day when we did that skateboarding, surf skate video.
Surf skate.
Is that I was trying to convey that whole style thing, you know? How you can practice style, but without even being in the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. So surf skate, I'm glad you brought up that that video, actually, the surf skate video. That's gone all right on Instagram. There's a few people have enjoyed that.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's not really the point. The point is just to, just put it out there.
Yeah. So what are you discussing in that? You're just fully discussing that it's not surfing, that it's skateboarding.
It is most definitely skateboarding, but there are ways that you can use surf skating to enhance your performance in the ocean. I mean, you're not going to get, obviously, any kind of skills out of it. No ocean knowledge whatsoever, which is, that's the main basis of surfing.
Yeah.
But, you'll get your hand movements. Yeah. You can get that out of surf skating.
Is that pretty much it?
That's pretty much it, yeah. You kind of, do shit with your hands. That's basically what I think surf skating is. I haven't done a lot of it. I actually
you got one here.
I actually had to make this board.
Yep.
Yeah, I made that out of plywood. I got my skill saw. And just chopped it into a surfboard shape.
You've sanded and rounded the edges a little bit. You've planed them.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
It's very nicely carpentered, actually.
Yeah, thanks. Been getting into a little bit of carpentry lately.
What are you going to do with that? It's got trucks on there, wheels.
Well, the thing is, it doesn't go very well, but it does look good.
And it almost has transitioned into art after being used in creative content.
Yeah, I guess. I guess it is. I was thinking I could take a photo of it and sell it as an NFT, and then take those funds and then donate them to a
woman surfing.
To a woman surfing? No. I was thinking
they don't need any money.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They're equals now.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking to donate that to, I don't know.
Blind surfers.
What's it good? Blind judges.
Blind
judges fund.
You could set
to
up
get the blind judges off the panel.
Yeah.
And get them away from competitive and professional surfing.
Yeah.
And put them in a farm or something like that, where they can all just roam around, carefree, banging into themselves. Maybe just put them in like a bubble, like balls, those bubbles, orbs.
Yeah.
Something like that. Just a whole bunch of judges, or the judges at least that have been scoring me throughout my competitive surfing
Just like
history.
A big padded room.
Yeah.
That's plenty of a place that looks like an old hospital.
Yeah, just a padded, I mean, I wouldn't call it a cell, but like a box.
Yeah.
A padded box, and just put all the judges in there.
Yeah.
And they can just bump around into each other. But yeah, maybe I could do that, sell this as an NFT, or even the actual thing, and then use those proceeds to go towards judges, putting them in asylums, or not asylums,
just
care facilities,
blind prisons,
care facilities. But yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been very educational so far with just, I guess, you sharing knowledge. People have asked online some questions again. Do you want to just quickly rip through those?
Yep.
We'll just make it quick fire, as is the theme of this normally.
I kind of feel like we draw a lot of mundane shit out.
Oh, it's not quick fire? It's more
No, but that's generally what we do, right?
Long and slow.
Yeah.
Okay. Will there be, this is a question from Nathan Cooley, will there be a surfer back on tour with a proper girth that a middle-aged man can relate to? You ever going to see a man with a good body out there?
I hope so, but I'm thinking Wade Carmichael was our last chance. He was our last hope.
What was his figurine like?
His was like similar to yours, like quite,
solid.
Solid, semi-rotund.
Tall?
Not tall, not tall. Not stumpy, but not like an elongated, stretched out, masculine Greek god. Like more like that, but then just like mushed down.
So it's thick.
An athlete though, an athlete. He had like if you just chiseled away, there'd be an athlete under there.
Under me?
Not under you. Yeah, why the fuck would I be talking about you? I'm talking about a professional athlete.
You said he looked like me.
No, I said he looked like you. But if we chiseled away at you, I feel like there'd just be more you.
Yeah.
But if you chiseled away at Wade Carmichael, there'd be an athlete under there for sure.
Yeah, there must be. He's on tour.
Well, he was on tour. Yeah, he's not anymore. But he's a fantastic surfer, and he was kind of like the flag bearer for the... not middle age, because I think he was only like in his 20s.
Yeah.
But just for that kind of physique.
Indeed.
You know?
Did he fail by not staying there?
I almost felt like he was an overachiever, just for his body shape, his body type.
Yeah.
And especially with the way that professional surfing's going at the moment, a lot of it is going into the air. People are doing the air 360s and all that sort of thing. He wouldn't really do those in events.
No.
He'd just focus on that big carve, those big moves, and he did it bloody well. And I think that the person before him, who he actually won an event, was Willian Cardoso.
One event?
He won an event, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Well, they called him the Panda.
Did he have a big rig?
They called him the Panda, and it wasn't because he had black and white splotchy skin. It was because he had the body shape of a panda.
So sort of little boobs, a bigger sort of round, I drink beer, eat bread belly.
Yeah.
Into some boardies.
Too many carbs.
Would have his belly overhung his boardies?
Oh, 100%, yes.
Wow,
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, much like that's where I'm at, that's where you're at.
I've been there for a while.
He was flying the flag, but he didn't re-qualify. He didn't surf that well though, to be honest.
Oh, was he shit?
Well, he wasn't shit. He was on tour, but he wasn't like Wade Carmichael. Wade Carmichael surfed pretty nice.
So he's the best chubby surfer.
But he was the dude before Wade.
Ah.
You know,
there might be someone coming up, like a 17-year-old fatty.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah, good at surfing. Maybe it'd be nice to have like a fat chick.
Yeah, I mean that would be good. That would boost the equality if we had a fat chick.
Yeah,
yeah. But I think you know what's ruining it is all these fucking coaches and all that sort of shit. But, putting these kids on diets, making them like waste away into these little svelte little athletes. It's just like it's sad because it's taken away from the heart, from the core of what surfing is, which is surfing's always just been about being a piece of shit. Just getting on the piss and then waking up in the morning and going for a surf and not being like a finely tuned athlete. Surfing's never been about that. But now it's turning into tennis.
Yeah, it is. It really is turning. It's the science involved.
Yeah, sports science.
Yeah,
we need more
conditioning sessions.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yoga.
Well, it's all a waste of time. You can either surf good or you can't.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it.
Okay. Well, in answer to your question, Nathan, you don't think there will be, but we hope for a fat 17-year-old.
I really hope there will be. I think there needs to be some serious changes within surfing, within surf culture. Until
you've got the rig.
I've got the rig. Unfortunately, I'm too old.
Too old, yeah.
And don't surf well enough.
Oh, yeah. Close, though. Pretty bloody close.
Yeah, not really.
Okay. Heavy locals, misunderstood. Jenny Craig, weight... Oh, this is a similar question.
That does almost lead on.
Jenny Craig, weight loss group, question mark. Heavy locals...
Heavy locals. The term... I think they're talking about the term heavy locals. Whether it is something to do with weight or heavy, like you find yourself in a heavy situation with a local.
Yeah, like he's a heavy or he's just fat.
But what does that mean? Like someone's a heavy? Like, does that mean you're going to get in a heavy situation with a person?
Yeah, they normally like to fight and stuff. A heavy bugger.
Or does that just mean that fat people like to fight other people?
I don't think fat people specifically like to fight.
I can imagine that many fat people would like to fight other people.
Yeah.
Because you're at a disadvantage.
Initially.
Initially, like, if you got someone who's like, just kind of dances around you, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you are.
Kick the back of your knee, you're going down hard.
Yeah. Don't know how to answer that one, Dalton.
I don't really know how to answer that, but I understand what they're trying to say. Is it heavy local? Are they a heavy person? Or is it like, are they taking command of creating a heavy situation out in the surf?
Are they just, when you look at them and you weigh them, they're just heavier than they look?
What do you mean weigh them?
Yeah, when you weigh people.
How do you weigh people?
I don't weigh many people. I just weigh my wife, and we just use scales.
Oh,
but it didn't matter. A debate. This is from Shark Wisdom Tooth Grinder.
Yeah, that's too long.
Shark Wisdom Tooth Grinder. A debate about why men draw penises on their mate's car or on their surfboards. Why do guys draw dicks all the time? Should we look the science up? Make it real simple for them.
You reckon? Why do men do it?
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I've been theorising about this since I started drawing penises at the age of 3. But I could never really get to the crux of it, you know? I just figured men draw penises on everything because it's kind of funny.
Shall I see what Google says?
But why is it funny?
That's trying to assert that they have power. Drawing penises over and over again and trying to assert they have power. That's fucking bullshit, Google.
Why the fuck would you Google that anyway?
Well, because
we're supposed to be coming up with the answer to this, not Google.
Yeah, but
that's the cheap, weak way out. Is when you Google something.
It was just look at science. What does science say?
So you wanted to just go black and white the science?
No, I want a robust discussion because I think that's wrong.
You think that's wrong?
Yeah, Google's wrong. That's not what it's
Google's
about.
not always right.
I draw dicks all the time.
Yeah, why do you draw penises?
Because they're easy to draw. I know what they look like. They're the thing I'm probably most used to, and people draw what they know.
I draw penises because I'm scared of growing up, and it is quite an immature thing to do, to draw a penis on, like when you're in school, draw a penis on someone's books, or draw it on the back of someone's car. And for me, why I still and always will draw penises is because I'm just trying to hold on to that youthfulness. And there's nothing that associates youth like a penis.
You drew about 1,000 penises on your surfboard.
Yeah, it was about 1,000 penises on my surfboard. And that, once again, that's just to hold on to my youth. Because I think it's like hand in hand, children, penises. They just go hand in hand. Like, so I can still relive my youth.
Are you allowed to say that sentence out loud like that?
Say what?
Children and penises go hand in hand?
Well, the way that you say it, it doesn't sound that good. But like when I say it, I'm just talking about myself reconnecting with children by penises, by drawing penises. And when I say reconnecting with children, I mean reconnecting with my inner child by drawing dicks, because it is immature.
Okay.
So if I want to, say if I was at a kindergarten or something, I wanted to reconnect with my youthful self. And with children, I'd draw some penises. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm exactly the same. But I also do it because that's, like I said, what I know. And, so Google is wrong.
Google is completely wrong.
Yeah. So it's nice to see what the science said, but that's not why I like to follow science all the time, because it's often wrong.
Well, it is often wrong. Google is often wrong.
Okay, we probably have more questions here. Do you want to do one more?
Sure.
Okay, and it is, have you surfed Taranaki, the west coast of New Zealand? If you haven't, would you? It's a quick one.
There has to be better questions than that. That's a fucking stupid question.
If you can't get sponsored and you show your superiority with others, what's the point in surfing? If you're not good enough to get sponsored, what's the point in surfing?
That's what I always used to think, actually, was when I was a child, when I first started surfing. I started surfing initially. Your fucking dog just bumped the camera.
He does that, man.
Anyway, when I first started surfing, the whole goal was to get sponsored, right? That's what every kid wanted to do. They wanted to get good enough to be able to, do an aerial. And then once you do an air, at a certain age, you're getting sponsored.
Surf shops all over you.
Yeah, if you can do a frontside air reverse, you're going to get sponsored. It's inevitable. It's what's happening. Yeah. And when I was a child, I always thought that, hey, this is what surfing's about. It's about getting free T-shirts and free shorts and stickers to put on your board. Yeah. And as I grew up, I found that it wasn't just about, free stickers and free board shorts and stuff like that. It was also about, making money.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And so if you got good enough, you could actually make money and get stickers and board shorts and T-shirts. Shit. So then it became about that. And then that's when, I realized that, hey, this is what surfing's really about. It's about money. It's about money. So it's all about money.
There's levels to sponsorship.
There's levels to sponsorship.
What's after the stickers, boardies, T-shirts, money? So you hit that second level, get money in there. What's the next one? Woman.
Well, I think woman's part of that as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the next one? Where's?
But woman just, that basically comes with money. I mean, it's
trophies.
like goes hand in hand, right? Hand in hand. Money, woman, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get money, you get woman. It's just how it goes.
It's just like.
That's just how the cookie crumbles. It's how the world revolves.
That's science.
Yeah, that's science. That's a fact that you can find on Google. If you Googled now, if you said money, it'll say money is.
It'll just start listing
equates to woman. Yeah. It'll just say money equates to woman.
Yeah.
And that's a fact that you can find on Google. But yeah, so what was the question again? Something about sponsorship?
Yeah, just sort of the
Is that why you surf? Yeah, that's why you surf. Like, what's the point in surfing if you're not getting sponsored?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like most people, if they don't get sponsored, they've failed as a surfer. They weren't good enough to cut it. So
is it okay to just go surfing for fun though?
I I mean, I've never personally done that, but I've seen a lot, like most people do that.
Yeah.
And to me, it just looks like you failed as a person, or failed as a surfer at least.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you can try and tell yourself that you're having fun, even though you're not that good and never been sponsored, if you can get away with that and honestly believe it, if you can trick your body into believing that, then yeah, I guess it's acceptable.
Yep. Cool. Okay. There's another section of the podcast coming up.
Oh, what have we got next?
This is more talking about.
This is.
Do you want to skip this?
No, well, I wasn't even gonna skip that. I was just gonna talk about like something that I did yesterday.
Yeah, go.
Which was I put a post out there, or not a post, whatever it is, fucking social media thingies, and I said that if Spotify didn't take 660's music catalog off the platform,
all of the albums,
all of their music, just get rid of delete it.
Yeah.
Then I was going to pull this podcast off Spotify.
Fuck.
Yeah. And I said that and I meant it, but then at the same time, I just kind of thought, hey, 660, even though I fucking hate them, and if you don't know who 660 is, it's a New Zealand band, and they just sing about vibes. It's like some poppy sort of...
It's New Zealand's most successcul band ever. They got wonderful songs and big albums.
Yeah.
Well, that's what New Zealand thinks.
Yeah, that's what New Zealand believes.
Yeah.
No one else has heard of them. For 12-year-old girls. But if those 12-year-old girls or people who are...
Like me.
Like you, if they like that music, then... why should I be the one to try and take that away from them?
Oh, so you're retracting your statement now?
I am retracting it. I'm taking it back.
So
keeping this podcast on the platform, regardless of 660. Like if 660 do want to take their music off Spotify, then that's entirely on them. Fingers crossed they do, but that's entirely on them. That's their decision. And this all came about because of Joe Rogan's podcast, right?
I've never listened to him.
And Willie Nelson said that he was going to take his whole catalog off of Spotify. Was it Willie Nelson? Neil Diamond. No, fucking. That's why I always say Neil Diamond and Neil Young. It was Neil Young.
Neil Young.
Always get those two mixed up. Very different music.
Why Willie Nelson? He's another kettle of fish again, isn't he?
Oh, well,
Country.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it might have been Willie Nelson, but it wasn't. Regardless, so what's his name? Neil Young. Neil Young, Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson and Neil Diamond weren't part of it. Neil Young said, if you don't take Joe Rogan off, then I'm taking my music off.
Yeah.
And Neil Young fans were like, yeah, fuck Joe Rogan,
which was
get
like
it off.
6 Spotify people. It wasn't a big group.
I've got a couple of his songs on there, so I'm part of those 6, even though I wasn't kicking up a fuss about it. But the problem with this was that if you're doing that, that's setting a pretty fucked up precedent. You're just saying, well, I don't really like what that person's saying. I want them to be kicked off, It's just like you're against freedom of speech, basically. If you're just like, hey, I don't really like what, because imagine the shit that we say in this podcast. Like most people would disagree with us, and they would say, hey, you guys are spreading misinformation. And yes, of course we are. Everything we say is misfucking information. But you can't just say, hey, look,
openly,
I don't like it. You got to get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
And because, have you heard Joe Rogan's podcast?
No.
Yeah. So he has a whole bunch of anti-vaxxy people on there and shit because that's his point of view that he likes to project. He likes to share that side of the things, and
which is why Willie Nelson actually does like him.
Willie Nelson is anti-vaxxer?
I'm pretty sure Willie Nelson's never had a needle.
No, he smokes a lot of weed, so I think he just medicates that way.
Yeah,
yeah. So I think Willie Nelson was with Joe, but the point being that I'm not anti-vax, but I do want to hear what other people have to say. I do want to hear other people's opinions because if I'm just hearing the shit that I want to hear, then I'm stuck in this fucking echo chamber listening to all the shit that I, supposedly want to hear. I don't want to hear everything that I agree with. I want to hear the other side of an argument. Yeah. And if you take the other side of the argument away, then who the fuck are we?
It's just some preaching.
Exactly. It's just someone preaching.
You're preaching. Tamaki,
they say
Zealand
preaching.
Church leader.
They say preaching to the choir. You don't need to preach to the choir.
They're going to
They already believe in the same shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking wrong, but hey, I'm not taking my podcast off.
Even though 660 are still on there.
Even though 660 is still on there. I mean, we can just hope and pray that they decide they listen to to
anything.
This.
Yeah,
and they make that decision. Yeah. But that's what that was about. Yeah.
Okay. Another one. Do you want to skip this one? Go through the agenda in quiet
now. No, that was right.
Okay.
So because we were looking at pipeline. We were looking at pipeline the other day, right?
Oh, right.
And they had the women, they were all wearing helmets.
I'll just draw a little arrow from there to link it.
Yeah, not all of them were wearing helmets.
Oh, I saw that.
A lot of them were wearing helmets. And that's because, like, your brain, for some people, is the most important part of their body. For a lot of people, it's not. It doesn't really. It's, insignificant. But for some of these pro surfers, they felt like, hey, I better look after this brain. So they wear helmets out in the surf in case they get smoked. And it kind of made me think, about sort of near-death experiences. Near-death experiences out in the ocean. And I personally haven't had many.
That's lucky.
Yeah, which is crazy. I surf a lot, and I surf Manu Bay, New Zealand's most crowded surf spot, frequently. Yeah. And you'd think, got a good chance of dying there. There's a lot of people who surf fucking shit and don't know how to steer a surfboard away from danger.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I haven't really been in too many near-death situations.
Wow.
Yeah, but there was a near-death situation that I was in the other day.
Driving or surfing?
No, well, if you'd just let me talk, I'd explain it. But this was something that this was a moment where I really felt like this is what it must be like to be a big wave surfer. I've surfed big waves, I haven't surfed massive waves. But at this moment I thought, fuck, this must be exactly what it's like to be a big wave surfer. And it was because I was pulled up to a petrol station, right?
Yeah.
And I was waiting to get my gas. And I saw this guy. And he, I was like, he looked like a, kind of a semi-normal guy. Little bit inbred, little bit redneck backward. Because that's, I was just out on the outskirts of Raglan.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I saw him pull out a cigarette,
A durry.
Pull out a durry. And I thought, hey, this guy must be pretty fucking cool. He's got a cigarette in his hand.
They're rich as well. He's got cash.
Yeah. What, $40 a packet of durries?
That's just like rolling up $5 and lighting it and putting it in your mouth.
Basically. I was like, here, we've got a rich man.
Yeah.
We've got a rich man with...
A rich inbred from out of Raglan.
A rich inbred.
Getting petrol.
Yeah. And then... This moment, like, just the sudden fear struck me, where I thought, shit, this might be it for me, was when...
Oh, because he's at a gas station.
Was when he lit up the cigarette, when he was pumping petrol, and I thought, holy shit, this must be what it's like when you see a set wave looming out the back at Jaws, and you're stuck on the inside, and you're just, holy shit. And then he put that cigarette in his mouth and started smoking. He's got like one hand on his ciggy and then one hand like pumping gas. And I was like, oh my God, you just see this fucking massive wave coming in. He's like,
did you run
shit.
Or did you stand there and wait?
Well, I was a little bit like, I was like in shock. I was like, just in shock.
That's
just
a scary moment.
You just don't know what to do. Like I assume it'd be the same thing if you're stuck on the inside at Jaws when a big wave's coming. I was just sitting there just like, holy shit, is he gonna kill us all?
Boom.
And I was just like, and another thing which I was in awe of, which was just like, how does he have like the motor functions even to be able to do that, to be able to like, well, for one, buy a packet of cigarettes, like having the mental ability to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about a guy who's like smoking a cigarette at a gas station while pumping gas. How does he have that ability to even light a cigarette?
Yeah.
Buy a packet of cigarettes.
Yeah.
How can he have the hand-eye coordination to even light one? So that was kind of going through my head, and the whole fucking getting blown up and dying at a gas station, and then the scene out of Zoolander.
Because he must be so mentally stupid.
Yeah,
and physically just stupid.
Just a fucking moron.
How unsafe is it actually, though? What is the science?
Well, have you ever lit in petrol?
Yeah, but it's flammable.
So yeah. So I mean, you can probably understand then.
But it's in the hose, man. It's in the hose. It's not in. It's just not out near your face. But it could be.
Yeah, I don't think you understand how petrol works.
How does it work?
Yeah. So like, if you lit some petrol at a petrol station, like everything goes on fire.
The whole bang.
It's all on fire. Everything's on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you can understand how I was like, a little bit fearful. But also, fascinated.
Fumes? Can it light the fumes?
I like the fumes, yeah. So I was terrified, but I was also fascinated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the end, did you like him or hate him?
Well, I kind of, like, initially I thought he was a fucking idiot. But then, like, I thought about it for a while, and still a fucking idiot. But it was interesting. It was an interesting thing that happened.
You ended up at the pub with them, a couple of beers?
No, I definitely
mates?
didn't.
No.
Because it's not often that you see someone trying to light a cigarette while pumping gas.
No.
Like, that's the next level of fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So it was just cool, kind of, like, to see someone doing that, but also scary to think that there are people around that just walk amongst us who are like that.
He's a risk taker.
Yeah. So so that was a good glimpse into what it must feel like to be on the inside watching a wave at Jaws just loom. And then, it just kind of dissipating or something. I don't know, getting picked up by the jet ski.
Do you want to hear a real quick version of my near-death experience? Got nothing to do with surfing.
I'd love to hear your near-death experience.
I crashed my motorbike. The motorbike landed on the back of my head, crushed my bones, broke all my bones in my face. It's good, eh? I got 32 metal plates. Yes. I don't know why I said yes.
Yeah, but this guy was smoking a cigarette at a gas station. That one's kind of...
Oh, your story's way better.
Yeah, it tops your one.
I was hungover driving on a dairy farm.
And you went off a cliff?
I drove off a cliff, yeah.
You drove off a cliff. How many bones did you break?
All of the ones in my face and my skull, and the top of the ones in my neck.
Yeah.
And my arms. I fucking ate it. I ate it. It was a proper eat.
That would have been quite sore, eh?
Nah, shock, man.
Yeah.
When you go into that moment of flying off the cliff, you go into shock. So everything sort of slows down. You had time to think, and I knew that I had to get away from the motorbike.
So what did you have to? Did you have to stop, drop, and roll, or like?
I just landed on my face. I went off. It was pitch black. It was 4 a.m. I went off, and everything went light and slow. When I say light, I mean gravity light. And then I landed on my face. I remember feeling the impact, and then the motorbike just landed on the back of my head.
Yeah. So after you After you came out of it, were the doctors you did the right thing, thank God, because this is what doctors say.
They were laughing.
They're like, thank God you broke your fall with your face.
Yeah, yeah.
Because most people do stupid shit like roll off onto their shoulders or legs or whatever. They're like, you did the best thing you could have done and just
it would have been like
a
full scorpion.
Yeah.
I wish someone could have filmed it.
You did a turbo scorpion.
Yeah, bang, and then the motorbike, bang.
Oh.
I don't know how it didn't kill me, but they just sort of laughed and said, "Shit, you're lucky." That's all they said.
I guess we've both got 2 pretty good near-death experience stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're both equal in near-death.
They are both definitely equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. The next part of the podcast on the agenda is something very close to my heart, and I know something you've had a lot to do with. Grom-abuse.
Yes. Yeah.
Grom-abuse. Is it a thing? Should it be a thing? And what are some examples of grom-abuse so people can either get into it or get out of it?
I'm just wondering if people still do it, if people remember it was a thing, and if people are still have PTSD from some form of grom-abuse that they received when they were a grom.
Yeah. So I guess can we? What is a grom? Is that a person under 13 or under 16, or is it someone new to surfing, or is it?
Man, look, you've already asked too many questions. I don't know. A grom is basically a kid.
A kid.
So
child.
I guess when you're 18, you come out of gromhood into.
Oh, yep. That's fair. Leave school.
But then there's micro grom. I think micro grom might be under 12, under 10, something like that.
Yep.
No one's actually written a book on this shit. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah, well,
I will say it now. Okay, a grommet is someone who's under 18.
Oh, is the word grommet?
Grommet, whatever. Something to do with a thing that you put in your ear. Yeah, and don't ask me where that fucking name came from. I do not know.
Grommets.
Yeah, and we'll go micro groms under 10. Right.
That's good. Yep.
Yeah.
Micro grommets. Micro grommets.
Yeah. So we've got that in writing now.
And
that's
just
official.
So you get problems with dads on sidelines. If you've got a big 10-year-old, a fat or a solid or a tall 10-year-old, they're still a micro grom, aren't they? So other parents need to shut up and leave that grom alone.
I think it's an age thing. Yeah.
And that takes us back to grom-abuse.
Grom-abuse, yeah. So this was a big thing when I was young, when I was growing up. Grom-abuse. It was a way. I guess it was an initiation into surf culture, really.
Yeah.
It was a way of...
A patch.
Yeah, it was a way of subduing. Is that the right term?
Enduring?
Subduing children so that they don't...
Subduing.
They don't get too big-headed. And mainly just... it was kind of a form of, torture.
Okay, so what are some examples of grom-abuse?
Well, I mean, the classic one's just like a dead arm, like something punch in the arm.
Yep.
Another one where people would hang a child by their feet into a toilet bowl.
Yep.
A bog wash. That's what that one was called.
Yep.
Duct taping children to a power pole. That was another one.
Yep. And is this surfing like related? Are you doing it in surf situations, or are you doing it anywhere?
This is mainly part of surf culture.
Surf culture.
You know, it was a rite of passage for children. They have to go through these forms of torture to be accepted.
At Manu Bay car park, this is where you've got the kid upside down at those local toilets there.
Yep. And then you're flushing their head directly into a bowl.
Into that bowl, and okay, got you. And the lamppost at the car park. So all the other
lamppost at the car park. You know, strip the child naked.
Yep.
So you've got a naked child, and then you just duct tape the naked child to a power pole.
Well, one of the more clever forms of abuse I witnessed was people carry a pair of scissors with them, and just as the grom sort of paddles past, snip the leash.
Oh yeah.
So then when they fall off, they've got no board, and they're just out in heavy waves.
That's horrible. You're destroying someone's personal property.
Yeah, I know. That was the rough part of that.
That's horrible.
Yeah. The damage you do to the leash.
They could be in some serious trouble out there without a leash.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah.
So you've damaged the leash, and you're flushing kids into a coli-ridden.
Oh man, but it's just a little bit of hazing. I wasn't personally doing this, but I knew people who had this happen to them.
You were talking about.
Yeah, and then there's other things like rubbing dog shit into the kid's face. We pissed in someone's shoes actually.
Oh, while they're out there, the shoes are out.
Well, they were out surfing. They'd left their shoes. I mean, it was kind of their fault. Like, who would just leave their shoes?
Who's we?
Me and a friend of mine. But this didn't count as grom-abuse, though, because the person's shoes that we pissed in, they were older than us.
Did you know them?
We knew them.
Were they friends of yours?
No, they weren't friends. They were acquaintances. Yeah.
So you just surfed at the same spot.
Yep.
You didn't like them?
I didn't dislike them, but it was like their shoes were there. Like, what are you supposed to do if someone's shoes are there with no urine in them? And he's like, well, we could just leave them there.
Well, yeah, true.
Or, because you're a 12, 13-year-old kid, you're just like, well, why would we not piss in these shoes when there's an opportunity right there to piss in them?
So 2 people pissed in them?
Yeah. One shoe each.
At the same time?
One shoe each. No, we just took a shoe each.
Covered your
We
genitals?
did it very respectfully because, we took a shoe into the toilet.
Oh.
And then urinated in the shoe, and then came back out and just placed them there.
Well, in future, the best thing about pissing in a shoe is you can just put the shoe, the heel part of the shoe, over your whole genitals, testicles and all, and your penis, and you can just urinate. And no one even really knows. You just hold the toe.
But to get the most enjoyment and satisfaction out of it, you want to do a normal piss. You want to stand up, and you want to aim into the shoe.
Yeah.
But the sad thing about it, though, was that the guy didn't even realise that we'd pissed in his shoes.
Oh, because his feet are wet.
Because the shoes. Well, because his feet are wet, and the piss just seeped into the shoe,
into the sole.
Yeah, it just seeped in there. It didn't we were expecting it to be like a little pool of piss in the shoe, and it wasn't.
Rather damp in there though. But you're right, it
would have been.
Wet. Yeah, okay.
Oh. But So I mean, that's grom-abuse. But that was to someone older than us. So I don't think it really.
It's just more bullying.
Really worked.
I think it's bullying.
Was that bullying?
I think you can call that bullying.
I think I was a bully, when I was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was led astray. My friend was way worse than me. Okay. And then this other guy shat on someone's board. That was quite cool.
A real poo?
It was a poo, yeah.
Were at a party or in the surf car park? Or?
It was in the car park. Yeah, I'm not even sure if this was grom-abuse either. He was a grom.
The guy who owned the board, where was he when the shit was happening?
He was in the car because he had locked the guy out of his own car, and he'd locked him out, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm not letting you in. I'm not letting you in." And the guy was like, "Well, you better let me in. I'm going to shit on your board." And he was like, "Ha, you're not going to shit on my board, and I'm not going to let you in the car." And then he was just like, "I'm going to shit on your board."
Why did the guy want to get in the car?
Because it was his car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he wanted to get changed and then
let me in my car. No.
Yeah. "I'm going to shit on your board." And he's like, "No, I'm not going to let you in your car." And then he's like, "I'm going to shit on your board. You won't shit on my board. I will shit on your board." And he shat on his board. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Did he take it to the bathroom like you did with the shoe, or did he just do it in the car
park? He just popped a squat right then and there and shat on his board so he could see it. The kid was looking out the back window of the car, just watching this guy, 10 years older, mind you, shit on his board.
So the guy that did the poo was 10 years older than the
10 years older. Which I'm pretty sure if you did that
Was
now,
it as a child?
would that be illegal?
You're allowed to shit on people's boards.
You're allowed to shit on a surfboard. Yeah, it's not illegal, is it?
No, it's just it's considered abuse.
It's not even frowned upon. If it's funny, if there are people laughing at it, then it's fine. I think.
Yeah, comedy gets you. You can get away with anything and use a little bit of comedy.
I think. I think you can.
Okay, so we've kind of brushed around some of the answers here. Grom-abuse, is it a thing?
Yeah, it is a thing. It's a thing that's definitely existed in the past.
People need to be aware of it.
I'm not sure if it's still going on now. I think it's more online abuse.
Yeah,
everyone's attached to their phones, and it's all. I think grom-abuse now is just like leaving a nasty comment on someone's Instagram post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't know because I'm not partaking in any of it. I think it's horrible. It's bullying.
Okay. We've gone through some examples so people get an idea. So I guess just think about your own grom-abuse in your own world. Are you doing it? Should you be?
Yeah.
Ask yourself those questions. And there is an argument for both sides.
If you are a victim of grom-abuse, harden up. You know?
Yeah.
Because you're only a grom till you're 18. That's all you got to worry about.
And then you can then inflict grom-abuse.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you are over 18 and you are inflicting the grom-abuse, then that's just the cycle. That's just the cycle, really, isn't it?
Maybe they need to still grow up too.
Yeah,
it's weird. Like,
well, no,
it's
a tricky one, isn't it?
If you're abusing, why are you abusing groms?
But grow up, but then also like
understand.
Understand, accept it, but then also like grow up because it's pretty fucked up
that
you abuse children.
Yeah, because they are children.
I mean, ultimately, we could say child abuse is bad because it's essentially grom abuse. Because when we look at groms,
are only surfers and they can take it better than anyone else.
Groms are under 18, which is classed as a child, right?
Yeah.
So if you just substitute that grom abuse for grom child, it's child abuse.
Well, this gets tricky. The word because in New Zealand, I think under 16's a child.
Okay.
So it's hard,
Yeah, but it's still child abuse, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I think about it, I was abused as a child.
Yeah, you definitely were.
I was abused as a child.
There's still heaps of signs. You've got PTSD from it, for sure.
That's what that's kind of, I guess that's where I was heading towards for this whole thing was that, myself and my friends, we were all abused as children.
For being surfers.
Just for being surfers. Someone, just keen kids who wanted to get into a sport that we loved and we thought would be, we thought was the best thing ever. And we were abused for that love.
Well, I've only heard stories about you abusing others. Have you got anywhere? What's something maybe happened to you?
No, no. These people were older. It doesn't count. I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you getting them back for something?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember that. But
it sounds like you were inflicting grom abuse, but you were more of a grom abuser.
No, I was
You were a grommet.
No way.
Inflicting abuse.
No way.
That's just that sort of crossed my mind. I don't know if it's true or not.
But it is. Okay. It is kind of. When you look at it at another angle, it's kind of like it's physical
break
abuse.
Down the facts.
Child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you break it down, really, isn't it? Grom abuse is child abuse.
It's quite black and white.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into the awards part of the show?
We'll just gloss over all that. Awards
part of the show.
Yeah, that's right.
So this podcast features 2 awards each week. Very prestigious
awards. It's one award. It's one award. Okay, it's Goofy Footer of the Week.
Yeah, it's one award.
And Goofy Footer of the Week is basically we give an award out to the person or entity which embodies all the traits of a Goofy Footer, which is basically fucking awesome,
Just
awesome, really.
Top shit.
Just the shit, the duck's nuts.
Yeah.
And then we have another award, which is Natural Footer of the Week, which is the polar opposite of Goofy Footer of the Week, which is shit. Just the worst thing.
Annoying.
Just fucking annoying, terrible,
loud.
Just obnoxious. So because there has to be an up to every down, a yin to every yang, a night to every day. So this week's Goofy Footer of the Week, it was a tricky one. I thought. We maybe could have given Goofy Footer of the Week to our significant others, our partners. And that was my reaction. But I feel like they deserve that every week.
Oh.
They deserve that every week. So instead I gave it to international travel.
Oh.
Yeah.
What have they done?
Well, I just thought international travel's fucking awesome.
It is
just
cool.
like every week you think international travel and you think, oh, awesome. You think that's something, that's Goofy Footer-ish.
Yeah, that is. It is cool. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone that doesn't like it?
Not many people don't like international travel.
No, and that's like the same with goofy footers. Everyone loves goofy footers.
Yeah, unless you're going somewhere shit, like, say if you were going from Australia to Gisborne, like that's not that good.
No, okay.
Yeah.
But that's more about the destination.
That's more about the destination, not the whole international travel aspect of it.
It's good when you go with Air New Zealand. Sometimes I went with maybe Lufthansa one time.
Lufthansa's good.
I took a rough hit.
Did you? On Lufthansa?
Yeah.
What was so bad about Lufthansa?
They didn't have a working toilet for over half.
Are you kidding me?
No, they could. One of them. There was only one to start, and then that one fucked out. And then so we had heaps of people who needed to go for a shit.
On Lufthansa?
On Lufthansa.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And then they not everyone got their meals. This was a long flight. This was 12 hours. So only maybe half the people got fed. Maybe they did that on purpose to slow down the bowel process, actually.
I was just thinking that's
smart?
That's classic German behaviour, though. Because like, if I think of all the German backpackers in Raglan, they all shit where they want anyway.
Yeah,
they don't even use toilets.
So they were just offering their service, and I just caused a bad experience for myself. I should have just got amongst it, shat where I wanted, and ate what I wanted.
So Lufthansa, no.
No.
New Zealand's good.
No, we're talking about international travel. I just sort of
international travel.
It does depend.
Yeah.
On who you go with, but you're right. You just got to be open to what you're about to experience.
I'm really looking forward to going on a surf trip overseas, international travel.
Yeah.
I haven't been on a surf trip in about 10 years, which is fucked up, really.
Yeah, that is
But
fucked up.
I haven't been in 10 years.
Where are you going to go?
Oh, man, look, I'll go anywhere. Honestly, I'll go anywhere. I'd love to go to Indo. I'd like to go to Bali. Used to spend a lot of time over there, so pretty keen to get back there and get some decent waves.
Yep.
Eat a couple of nasi gorengs, mee gorengs, and but if not there,
what's the beer they have there that people buy the
Bintang.
T-shirt?
That'll give you the
Bintang.
shits. They go straight through you.
Yeah. Is that the best thing about it?
No, it's not that enjoyable, really. No.
Do you drink like Aussie beer when you're over there?
No, the beer's good, but it's just the shitting it out is not that comfortable. But you're shitting so much over in Indo, like it could be anything that gives you the shits. So basically, anything that you ingest you're going to get the shits. But yeah, international travel.
Well done, international travel. It's not a person so much this time, so it's just a thing.
No, but it's still a goofy footer kind of thing.
It's got the traits.
It's got the traits of a goofy footer. Fucking awesome.
Who is your natural footer of the week? Just because we better equality.
Yeah. Well, we got to balance that out. And I was thinking, what is like the opposite thing of international travel? And that is obviously New Zealand's MIQ situation that we currently have.
Oh yeah, it's a little. People are frowning upon it, now.
Yeah,
even internationally.
Internationally, yeah, we're not looking too good, and that's because we can't travel because we can't come home. We can leave, but we can't come back. Or we can't. No, we can go into a lottery. So this is pretty cool because everyone loves a lottery, a little bit of a gamble. So it's just like I want to leave, but then I want to gamble to see if I can actually come home.
Yeah,
which is exciting, but it's also pretty fucked up that you can't come back home. And there's thousands of New Zealanders who are overseas who can't come home. So in that way, it's pretty fucked up and probably not that fun.
They're just not allowed.
Yeah, not that fun of a lottery.
It is pretty out of it.
They're not allowed to come
But
home.
Is it good? Because we've locked the doors, man.
It's good for some people. Like if you are a surfer.
Here, we're inside. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a surfer, and surfers generally tend to be very selfish, and you don't want your local spot, like say for instance Raglan, to be overcrowded with tourists, then it's great for that.
It's sick for that.
But if you're basically anyone else apart from that selfish prick, then it's not really that good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need money, you need people, you need lives,
money,
you need love, you need laughter, you need joy.
Yeah. And they still haven't changed it. It's still 2 weeks. It's still 2 weeks, right? It's still 2 weeks in quarantine hotel, and that costs about $3,000 New Zealand. Yeah. And that's so that we don't get COVID in the community, even though we already have COVID in the community.
I haven't got it yet.
Yeah, neither have I. But, if you think about it, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Because at the moment, if you catch COVID in New Zealand, you can quarantine at home.
Is this misinformation? You can end up like Joe Rogan.
No, this is real. This is real.
660 might take their shit off the platform.
Fuck 660. But this is real shit, right? So if you catch COVID, if you are actually sick, you can just hang at home and get better. But if you travel to New Zealand where you have to be double vaxxed and you have to have a negative test
and a booster
and you have to win a fucking lottery to get a room,
you got to be lucky to come here, man.
You got to stay in that room for 2 weeks.
Fuck, it's
and be monitored every day. But if you actually have COVID, fucking it's sweet. So it just kind of doesn't add up, really.
If you're an international, you're watching this, you should come here though.
Try. Yeah. Good luck.
Well, as soon as we open the doors, we must open them soon.
Yeah. Oh, I think we've been saying that for the last year, and it hasn't happened so far. I think they were talking about that in November, and they're like, yeah, we're almost going to open up the doors and let people in, but they didn't because it's February now.
Okay.
But so that's putting the whole international travel thing, putting the brakes on that at the moment.
So natural footer of the week, the person
natural footer of the
least
week.
like a goofy footer is MIQ.
Yeah. MIQ. Yeah, it's fucked.
What does that stand for?
Ministry of Information and...
Okay.
No, managed isolation quarantine, maybe?
Okay, good. Because it just says Mick.
Mick.
So I was
it says Mick. That's how you would say it, Mick.
Yeah.
Yeah. MIQ, Mike.
Did 2 weeks in Mick.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's not...
Cost you $3,000 for 2 weeks of Mick.
$3,000 of Mick. Yeah. But yeah, I don't want to do it. I know people have done it.
If you spend $3,000 on Mick, you get 2 weeks worth though.
2 weeks
with a Mick. Have you
2 weeks of Mick
for $3,000?
Oh, is this sexual innuendo?
No,
yeah.
Mick.
No. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing because you do this every time we do a podcast. Is you try and slide in some sleazy sexual innuendo.
But I've only done it once. But I've only done it once this whole podcast.
Yes, that's because I remember about 10 podcasts ago I said you can only do it once a podcast.
Well, let me have that one.
You can have that one, but I'm bringing that up. I'm bringing that point up.
You're still going to show the okay.
Because I feel like I just need to address that whenever you bring up that section.
Was it a good one? No?
Nah, it was
average.
It was pretty fucking average, man.
It was Mick, though. No one uses Mick anymore.
No one uses the word Mick anymore.
They should.
You reckon?
Mick is one of the better words. I've heard of people referring to Mick as a range of different things.
But do you reckon...
And I find none of them as audibly pleasing.
Yeah. Do you reckon many people even know what Mick means? Or is that just an outdated word?
Wow. That's maybe another question for another podcast. Okay. No more Mick.
Yeah. Move on from Mick.
That's it, man.
Was that it?
Yep. We'll finish there.
Thank God. Oh, fuck, I didn't even drink my beer.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God. What a fucking amateur.
That's all right. We can have it now as we sign off.
Oh.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say, Luke?
Not really, eh? I just want to reiterate everything that I said, and I stand 100% by everything that I've said on this podcast. And when I say everything I've said on this podcast, I mean every podcast that I've ever done. And that's how I should sign off every one. Just like I stand behind everything I say.
I can't open that. Something's wrong.
Do you want anything you want to...
Nah. I don't stand by anything. I'm untrustworthy, unreliable, and slightly overweight.
Sweet. I'm not flexible whatsoever on any of my opinions on this podcast. And they will stay that way forever. So you can quote me on this. If anyone ever wants to drag up anything that I've said in the past on a podcast, do it. Because I stand by whatever the fuck it was that I said.